And that's how I cured the Amerlin of syphilis the first time. So,
Not
first
as
age.
good as the second, but I like it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I assumed that they would learn after the first time, but it's crazy. Oh shit! Hi.
Oh.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Black Tower Podcast, a Wheel of Time podcast. It's really good to see you back here. Really good. Speaking of catching stuff, Josh is still serving some time and Doran. So things got a little tainty. It was the wrong barrel of wine. They said something about espionage. It was a leftover from the Third Age. It was an accident. He'll be back next show at the latest, but Sorvon Mahale had to take the fall. What a shame. Always check your barrels of wine before you go into Camelin.
That's the lesson we learn.
It's the lesson you learn.
Mm-hmm.
But we're here.
We are.
And by we, I mean me and Reese. I'm your Bajan Mahale. My name is Andrew.
And I'm your Aethon Mahale. My name is Reese. Sedai. To be precise.
To be Sedai.
To be Sedai.
Yeah, I mean that might be fitting.
Probably works.
For
That's a new word.
Might be fitting for
today's in what you're saying.
I need you to be very Sedai on what you're saying, alright? Alright? Well, if you find yourself not being able to be Sedai in what you're saying because you're kind of tired, we've got just the thing for you. Head on over to w.gg, use code BTP for 10% off. Flaming Lime not necessarily included, but no promises. You never know. Code BTP, 10% off of everything over at w.gg, or you could also use the link in the show notes or description down below. W.gg makes some fantastic drink powder. Just take a scoop, throw it in a shaker cup or in a glass, stir it up, shake it up, whatever you want to do with it. Within reason. Obviously, use as directed. It's jitterless, clean energy, avoids artificial flavors. It's fantastic stuff. It'll help you get that focus you need to, maybe do something at work that should have only taken one day, but there's just so much it takes 2 weeks. You never know.
Shit happens. Never know what might come up.
Yeah. Maybe you're at work and they tell you you've got to start rolling out an upgrade for computers, and then nobody load balances the system, and so they shut it down, and then everybody else is still trying to do the upgrade, and they're like, why doesn't it work? And you're like, well, they shut it down. Well, I started it, and now you got to finish it because your side still works. And it's just a pain. And then they turn it all back on, and then suddenly your Outlook stops working because it can't reach the Microsoft server for some reason, and you don't know why. So you can't answer emails that you really shouldn't have to answer because the answer is obvious. Yes, everybody else that requested the port activation will get an email. I emailed you. You're not the special boy. Everybody gets an email. Gosh, it's like Oprah. You get an activation email. You get an activation email. You all get an activation email because I can't close the ticket unless you ignore my email or answer the email and say it works.
I got an email this week with a phrase that I really couldn't believe. When I saw it, I was just like, really? So I got an email that I had told somebody that I was like, hi, this is the issue that happened. Can you please do this to fix it? And they wrote back, is there someone else that can do it? I seem to have become confused and don't know what to do to fix it. And I was like, you seem to have become confused? You put that in an email?
You see, the great thing about being in the military is they beat in your head from the early days, and this is generally true for most businesses, sectors of work, that generally your emails get kept for X amount of time in case they ever have to be referred back to. So
retention policy.
The shit you want plausible deniability for, you don't say on any official communication medium.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I seem to have CC'd your boss. I don't know what happened.
Oh, I love the, have you seen the meme where it's when somebody CCs my boss on an email and it's just, it's Negan, and he's like, well, I'm sorry, well, excuse my goddamn French, did you just threaten me? I've had a couple of those, and I'm sitting there looking at the email. I'm like, well, excuse my goddamn French. Did you just threaten me?
I tried. To be fair, I went through and gave the girl what to do. My supervisor had already said to CC her boss, and I did not. I gave her the benefit of the doubt, and she came back with some BS to me. And I was like, see, now I'm going to have to spend a lot of work to actually get the report ready when you're the one that messed this up.
I'm about that to do something similar because so the network I support, every computer that everybody uses, the Navy does not technically own. It's all leased from like HP. So all of the computers, once they're done and they've been replaced, tech refresh, whatever, we take out the hard drives, do whatever we have to do to them because obviously the hard drives have network specific configurations and information on them. And it's just standard procedure. You don't let your potentially sensitive data, not secret, but sensitive. I mean, definitely not secret, but sensitive data outside of your organization. Yeah. So we take those out and do whatever else we have to do and send them back. Well, when we do that, like everything else that involves anything with the big G word, government, not God, but government, there's paperwork involved. And so I have to, when I pull those hard drives out, they have to physically go back to the point of contact for the unit or whatever that we got them from, and they have to sign a document saying that these are the drives that they were given back, and I sign it, they sign it. And I have a guy that has ignored that email from last week, and I even put it in the email. If you want to wait to sign this until you physically get the drives back, that is fine. Respond to the email telling me that. Didn't say anything last week. This guy's a branch head too, so I know he's a fucking asshole. So I sent him another email, first part of this week. Hey, following up, this task must be completed. Because I'm like, I don't really give a shit that you're a branch head. That means you're in a GS position. I'm a contractor. I don't follow the GS scale. And I got my DD-214. Not that your GS rank would ever affect an actual military rank. Like, I don't really give a shit. He still ignored me. So now, as soon as my Outlook decides to work again, or I just use the web portal because the web portal works, but, well, half works. I basically got to do the whole, like, does this person have a supervisor, or do I just contact my site manager that manages our operations for the entirety of the Carolinas and let him, be the big dick swinging in the locker room and be like, hey, fucko, you want to answer an email like you're required to fucking do because you're the government point of contact? You piece of shit. Anyway, happier topics.
Happy.
But also put in the term of secrecy. But before we get there, we probably need to protect the folks. And this is where we get to find out. Does the spoiler warning play? And does Andrew get to hear it as it actually played? We'll find out on this episode of Black Tower Podcast. Here's your spoiler warning, courtesy of Glueman's Apprentice.
The Black Tower stands fully erect.
When the tower is bulging at full erectness, you must protect yourself from tainty spoilers.
Your spoiler condom must cover the immense girthiness of all 14 books of Robert Jordan's The Wheel of Time.
With an itty-bitty tip at the top for the prequel New Spring.
If your condom is too small, you will get tainty spoiler jizz all up in your eye.
Or ears. You have been warned.
It's always too. I mean, it's the problem that I buy the ones that are like those little individual, like the finger ones that are like the latex glove fingers, but just the finger.
Oh, you get the finger condoms? Yeah, that is the problem.
Yeah.
Andrew, jeez, come on, man.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I thought this was America. I thought one size fits all. My bad.
No, I'm sorry.
Fucking
This
excuse
is
me.
America.
It's no longer centered. My plan is ruined.
Do you want this?
Anyway,
You can have this.
I don't think I can fulfill the needs of such a device. I think that might be best left to Mr. Leaf Curtains.
That's Mick Leaf to you.
Mick Leaf. Imagine that in a fucking Irish accent. Hi, that's Mick Leaf to you. My name's Mick Leaf, and you can Mick fuck off. Oh. So what are we talking about today?
We're talking about Aes Sedai and the The Cult of Secrecy.
I'm glad you said it right, because every time I look at it, I keep almost saying the Clut of Secrecy. Like, that's not the word.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Look at that. We got
Look at
top
that.
secret documents straight from Tarvalon.
They've been
It wasn't until
declassified.
they don't have that banner on it. It's not until after like I made the thumbnail and given like the whole like the save what effort and everything right now and all that going on, I just realized like if somebody doesn't read the title, they just see the thumbnail, that's gonna look super clickbaity. Or it can. It can look super clickbait.
That's right. We have top secret information about
Top secret
the Wheel
insider
of Time
information.
book series.
Oh. Well, as we're going to dive into this topic, did you find the helpful guide that I posted?
I did.
Okay, I wanted to
I
make
liked
sure.
the intro.
Not that you have to use it, but it's there in case you need.
I did like it.
So again, we do want to briefly acknowledge that this is a two-host episode because Josh is serving his time, serving his penance, serving stuff. Go with that. So, Aes Sedai Secrecy. It's one of the most commented on, standout, defining, and controversial aspects and elements of the Wheel of Time. Whether you're talking about the books or the TV show, it's a thing. We all complain and argue about it. There's not a word that mixes for that. We all complain and argue about it incessantly. Not incestuously, but incessant. We never stop. If you have incest in the other one, then you really should call the authorities. Like that's a really big fucking problem. I mean, this is a really big problem, but that's anyway. That's not where we should be going. So there's a good way to frame this whole discussion, right, Reese?
I'm sure there is.
Yeah, there is. It's a great, like, you could call it like a key framing question.
A key.
Yeah. Like a question you could ask that's like key in framing the general idea of the conversation.
Okay. Key framing question. Like, okay, so if I were to think of like key questions that were like framing, I would be like, are the White Tower's secrets and manipulations alleged necessary safeguards, or the true source of the world's alleged instability?
I like
Allegeds have brackets around them.
I like the very like lawsuit safe like allegedly.
Look, I had
Throw
jury
that in.
duty lately.
Allegedly makes any statement better. Like
That's right.
I had eggs for breakfast. Allegedly.
Alleged.
Yeah. I was here at work on time. Allegedly.
An argument could be made against it, and
I'm getting fairly compensated for the job I do. Allegedly. All right, am I getting paid too much? Too little? Oh, you'll never know. Judge Judy, help us out.
She's allegedly
Oh.
busy.
Well. You know, her son is a judge as well. I saw a clip of him doing his thing. Fucking bizarre, because it's the same kind of like TV, generically same type of TV court. And it was like a lady had gotten a protection order against this guy, but then like she was the one that willfully like violated it by going near him. But then like the comments she made to the judge was like that she clearly knew that like the protection orders are directional, like they only protect person A from coming near person B, not person B from coming near person A. And he was like fucking just lit up about it and was just like, that's how I know she's full of shit, basically. And it's just like, bruh. Bruh. And then she's like, and with the most like calm face, still, she's like, how dare you? Like, you don't even believe your own shit, lady. Like, this just happened to be a lady in this circumstance. But I'm like, this is why court television is just fucking hilarious. Like, sometimes it gets really wholesome, but most of the time it's just like, no wonder the system is fucking slow. Anyway.
Yeah.
Things that aren't necessarily slow. Part 1 of this discussion, Aes Sedai oaths and the origins of the secrecy, kind of where this comes from. So we're going to start with some historical context for the Aes Sedai. So picture it. Fire, water, burnt ass everywhere. Shit's crazy. All the men that can use magic lost their shit and have literally been using balefire to turn entire cities to glass. Mountains now stand where there were once vast oceans. Oceans now reside where there were vast mountains. There's a giant mountain over there where like the best guy ever, but the mountain now is there and kind of looks like a dick.
Dogs and
And
cats sleeping
there,
together.
there was like just like a river, but now there's like an island in the middle, and it kind of looks like a vagina with that alleged harbor that nobody can ever find. Even though they swear it's there, it's a lie. It's fake news. It's not there. Doesn't exist. But they say it's there. I've never seen it. It's never been there. It's not on any map. It's not true. I didn't build it. Doesn't exist. Oh gosh, just gave me Golden Girls flashbacks. Picture it. Sicily, 1922. Fucking love Sophia. Anyway, the White Tower has been established through just the remaining Aes Sedai that have survived, female Aes Sedai, coming together and being like, we kind of need to figure stuff out. Like, the world's crazy, whether we fully admit it to ourselves or the world or not. It's like, kind of half our fault because, we told the guy that, we said we'd help him after our plan failed, or if our plan failed, and then our plan failed, and we said, "Fuck you, we're not going to help you." It's kind of half our fault.
Yes.
So they have all these different Ajahs that do all their different little duties, and they got the Red Ajah that's going out there and just straight up murking all the guys that can channel. Relatively, I think, actually, in this time frame, given what's going on following the breaking, understandable kind of response. Horrible.
I would like to throw out there for the court, allegedly.
Yeah. Allegedly. Objection, Your Honor. Defense is testifying. I guess I would be prosecuted. I did a little bit of what was it called in high middle school? Mock trial? Was that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
When you let kids pretend like they're in court?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so the world doesn't trust Aes Sedai, period. And the world at this point had only known Aes Sedai as everybody that could use magic, because in the Age of Legends and the Second Age, Aes Sedai referred to just everybody that could use magic. It was not gender specific. It was not Sidene, Sidar specific. It was not only White Tower specific. White Tower didn't exist before all of this. I mean, I'm sure there were plenty of White Towers around, but not the White Tower, not this weird erect
forever.
Not this weird erect object on Vajayjay Island, which happens sometimes. It is closer to the north than it is the south. It could just be a large North Harbor, which is fine. It's absolutely fine. I am not shaming it at all. But the rest of the world just didn't trust Aes Sedai because all they saw was people that could use magic went absolute batshit crazy and ruined all my cabbages and ruined everything else. We were supposed to trust them to run the world, and they started blowing it up. Look at how they massacred my boy. Turned him into glass. Erased him from existence before they erased him in Natram's Burrow. Horrible. Not Natram's Burrow. Forgot the name of the city that one of the 100 companions actually turned into glass. But it was like a whole city. Horrific. Anyway, Aes Sedai are all together, and they're like, hey, how can we make people trust us again? And somebody, or potentially several somebodies, said, I have an idea. Y'all remember that thing we used to punish criminals? What if we used it to restrict ourselves with oaths that we let everybody know about so that they can trust us? And it's so serious, that they just, we'll prove to them every time that we see everybody and that they can test us and they'll know that it's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Unclear on whether or not they're deliberately hiding or forgotten about the fact of what the oath rod does to your lifespan at this point, or the binding rod.
I mean, it had to be Black Ajah already, right? Don't you think? They already had to be let's just get in here quick and just
That's what I said. Let me just get in here quick and just really fuck things up real quick.
Right. Yeah, you get it.
Skedaddle, skedoodle. Your oaths are now a noodle. I mean, I feel like it would be something like, surely they're not so short in memory that they would agree to this and do it so that you ruin any chance at people living long enough to actually remember or stand a chance at remembering even more stuff that's useful. Because people what was her actual name? She played the Tomerlin in the TV show. Luce Theron's female counterpart, basically those people that still lived forever, they saw the fall of the Sharom above the Column Dome, and still made it almost to Viridion, if not into Viridion, to live out the last of their days. That remembered everything, even though generations of Jin Aiel had come and gone by then. It's very kind of to put it in our world historical context. It's a very like it would be partially like a very soft version of like a Mao Zedong kind of solution, where you get rid of the individuals that have the knowledge, so that you can then control the narrative.
Mhm.
But this is the very passive way where you're just like, well, if I can take the people that normally can live like 4, 5, 600 years and make it to where they only live 2, 3, 400 years, 2 or 300 years rather, because that's how math works. Because half of 600 is not 500. Then great. So anyway, Aes Sedai, they make 3 oaths. Do you remember what the oaths are, Reese Sedai? The Aes Sedai oaths, not the Sean Chan.
The 3 oaths. I would say no, but that would be breaking one, because the first one is you cannot speak a lie. That you cannot speak what you believe to be a lie.
Do we want to go like pure verbiage from the Wheel of Time?
Sure, let's do it.
All right.
I don't have that, so
Yeah, I'm pulling it up and then I'll post it where you can.
cool.
Because it is kind of cool. Because I do love. I'm not gonna lie. Get it? Not gonna lie. I do love playing like the semantics argument of like the verbiage being important, which is very Aes Sedai of me.
Yes.
There we go.
I will say, of all the things in the books of the Wheel of Time, I think this is one of the things that kind of imprinted on me the most when I read it. Was the very, very definitive wording of things, where it's very specific.
It's also like that kind of like Renaissance-esque era kind of wording to it, which is kind of just cool to you get to feel fancy when you read it.
Right. So the first oath is to speak no word that is not true. And so that I always think is the no word that you believe is not true, because I always think that's an interesting kind of asterisk to the rule.
Yeah, it does turn out to be a caveat. Yeah.
If you believe it to be true, you can speak it. Like if you believe the Earth is flat, you can say that it is flat. We won't go there. Anyways,
Aes Sedai flat earthers.
All of a sudden, it just is true.
The Aes Sedai said it. It must be true.
Okay, so number 2, the second oath is to make no weapon with which one man may kill another.
Caveat there too.
Aludra did not speak the oath.
Well, also, what if it's a weapon that you make for a woman to kill? It's not meant for men to use.
So that gets
What if you focus in on the gendered language?
Yeah. So you're getting down to man as in like man versus woman instead of man versus mankind. This is interesting.
Yeah. You make it a pink sword. This is a lady sword with a pink tax.
And then the last is to never use the one power as a weapon except against dark friends or shadow spawn, or in the last extreme defense of her life, the life of her warder, or another Aes Sedai.
It's also interesting on that last one that like the whole purpose of these 3 oaths is to breed trust amongst a populace that does not trust them, right? Who is expressly left out of the 3rd oath? If you are not the Aes Sedai, her warder, or another Aes Sedai, she can't see you getting attacked and be like, "Oh, I'm going to channel and defend you."
I'm not sure what do you mean? Who is left out of this?
Just the general populace.
Oh, they can take care of themselves.
Yeah. That's basically the Aes Sedai stance. Like, oh, you don't trust us? Well, we can't attack you, but also, fuck you. You can take care of yourself.
We can't attack you. We also can't help you.
But I always found it to be an interesting thing. Like, I can't use it unless it's the last extreme defense of myself, my warders, or other Aes Sedai. It's like, well, what about the townsfolk that you're trying to instill trust with? Fuck them.
It's like a perfect.
That's a them problem. It's like,
friend thought to be like, no, let's put all the warriors, all the Aes Sedai up on a stage. Let's serve them a dinner. Give them spiced wine, and we'll just murder the townsfolk in front of them, and they won't be able to do anything because of their oaths.
Right. They're just like some Aes Sedai was like, last extreme defense of the of life. Someone was like, all life, like shadow spawn are technically life. Like,
Have you
okay,
met them?
like our lives and the lives of, other people. It's like, have you met other people? Like, what if that makes us like defend, one of the mail channelers that have gone insane? They Aes Sedai the Aes Sedai so that they have no part of their oath. It's like, yeah, you can use the one power to defend like a town being attacked, unless they're being attacked by dark friends or shadow spawn. So it's like, if there's just a bad dude, but he's not sworn to the shadow, or they just don't believe. If they don't believe he's sworn to the shadow, they're just kind of like, eh. Because that's the caveat, like the big caveat we find out for all of these, right? Is it's predicated on the belief of the individual that swore the oaths, which can change over time.
Mm-hmm.
Because we see people that swear oaths, and we're like, that's not the objective truth, but it's what the character believes is true. So they're fine. Like the oath holds for that. So it's not like an overarching, holier than thou, objective truth looking down, infallible oath. Which the Aes Sedai seem to find out very fast because they're like, I can exploit this. There's loophole. If I can convince myself that the way I said this phrase is true, I can say it.
Everyone loves a loophole.
Yeah. So with that, and what we know of the events, do these oaths actually inspire trust in the Aes Sedai, or do they wind up fostering more mistrust because they twist the words instead? What do you think?
So I think initially they probably instilled trust. Like off the bat, when everybody heard them, they're like, oh, okay, this makes sense. This is good. And then over time, I think people probably figured out, the things that like, oh, an Aes Sedai might speak the truth, but it's not always the truth you hear. These phrases started to come about as people became like wise to like how these oaths can be like pushed to their limits. So I
Push
think
it to the limits.
yeah, exactly. So I think at first it was probably like very comforting for the people where they were just like, oh, good, thank you, yes, this will help. And then as they went on, they were like, wait a minute.
I mean,
Silver tongue you got there, Aes Sedai.
yeah. So you have like Moraine, and I think this is like one of the first like really good examples we get in book one. After leave takings, they cross. They go into Terran Ferry and they cross. I forgot the name of the river, but they cross the river over with the ferry in Terran Ferry. Is it the River Terran? Is it that simple? I don't know. Somebody will tell us down below. Morshadi's not here to like answer all the questions.
Where are you, Morshadi?
Where are you? I'm so sorry. Not really. And like Moraine creates a whirlpool and it destroys the ferry, but then it winds up killing the ferryman. And everybody's like, I thought you couldn't just fucking kill the random, like a random guy, like with the one power. And she's like, but I didn't. I destroyed the ferry, which is not protected by the three oaths. He chose to dive into the danger himself. He killed it. That was suicide. And it's like, you're a horrible fucking person. And I'm like, well, yeah, she showed up to a random village and started handing out silver coins to get little kids to follow her out of the town. Like, that's a fucking red flag. Yeah, isn't that a whole fucking story? The Pied Piper or whatever, the one that can play the flute and turns all the kids into fucking rats.
Yeah.
And as long as he plays, they stay rats.
Follow me, children. It'll be fine. Nothing to worry about.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think there was initial skepticism the same way as like when Sidene gets cleansed. Everybody's like, yeah, but really? And it's like, yeah, no, seriously, it's cleansed. Like, it's not going to get any worse. And it's like, yeah, but it's already like pretty bad. And like 3,000 years ago when we thought the Aes Sedai were fine, then suddenly they weren't. Shit was pretty bad. And it's like, it took some time to prove. And then, eventually, like, some of the Aes Sedai were like, I really need to get this done. Oh, I figured out some loopholes, and I can kind of mislead with the way I'm using this shit. And it became, like, its own kind of art form, just like, like an Aes Sedai version of Deus Damar with, like, it's like Deus Damar with, like, extra rules, like, on an extra difficulty, right? Like, if I can make myself believe something, or just, imagine if like you could do like compulsion on somebody to make them believe something and now they can lie about it. But you can compare it to some stuff other groups do. Like the wise ones, they rely on honesty and they earn respect of Giotto. Sea folks, they rely on making and holding to bargains and that being a binding contract of its own. But still, you have the Aes Sedai that stand still very much apart in their truth without truth kind of a culture that they fostered, and they have like it's just like whenever you're scrolling through TikTok or Facebook or Instagram, it's like you built your For You page brick by brick, so you can't really be that shocked that people don't trust you now because like you said earlier, the phrase like the truth an Aes Sedai tells you is not always the truth you hear, kind of thing. And the show did a really good job at showing it too when Maureen was talking to the White Cloaks, like, oh, we're going here. I have a sister that lives here. Like, none of that was actually connected to what she was trying to do, but each statement itself was true. And that's how she manipulated the truth to get around everything. And
I
it
actually
became like almost like a
remember,
bit of a game for the Aes Sedai to see like how far can I push,
and I feel like
my
that's kind of
truth.
the fun thing that I feel like some of the Aes Sedai probably use it just like that, where they make a game out of how far they can push the oaths. I'm sure there are those ones. I remember a specific
Push it,
scenario
push it.
in just in my life where I was in a scenario where I had to apologize for something that I didn't really feel like I should be apologizing for. Like I kind of felt like
Mm-hmm.
something had been done to me, but I was made to be kind of the villain. And I was like, I know that I have to apologize to like keep up appearances, but I don't really like that I have to do it. However, I also know that this person will never be on the same like level that they are. So, I did my apology, and I was like, I felt like it was very, very much inspired by Aes Sedai because my apology was something along the lines of, I'm very sorry that you felt the way that you did, and I'm sorry my actions made you feel that way. It will never, ever happen again. Like, you will never be put in that scenario again. And I meant it in that I will never trust that person again to tell them the things that I trusted them with, that they turned around on me. And so it was funny because it was like, I said it and I was very like, yeah, no, you will never be. You will never get this chance again. And they were like, thank you. Thank you so much. And I was like, you are welcome. Like, you're welcome. And it was just like it was funny because like we both like it was a very Robert Jordan would have written like this was a Robert Jordan written thing because like I took a different meaning away from it than this person did because I was very specific in how I spoke. And this is like one of those things in real life that I very much drew from my Robert Jordan, my Wheel of Time experience for this because it was like, yeah, no, I'm never gonna allow you into that scenario to do this again. But please go ahead and think that I apologized to you. And it was like, man, it worked.
Yeah. No, I'm not gonna say I love the situation, but like I very much agree and kind of love the sentiment of, and it's part of why like I get very semantic about word choices that are used. Depending, the more important I feel the discussion is, the more semantic I'll get about the word choices that are used or the phrasing that's used. Because like going to this doesn't make me an authority. This is not an appeal to authority by any stretch. But going to school and doing studies like political science, intrinsically in the studies, the phrasing is important. The word choice is important, and that's what's a lot of what's studied because my concentrations were foreign policy and political theory. And so it was you had to kind of be able to decipher that stuff or try to or look out for it, whatever the case is. Which is why like again the more important it is, the more I pay attention to that. But also, like, I'm a firm believer in like you should say what you mean and mean what you say the way you say it. Because also, like, being focused on that also allows you to sit there and be like, whenever somebody says something, they're like, well, I didn't mean it that way. But like, then why did you say it that way? Like,
Yeah.
be accountable for your words that you use.
And I think that's kind of part of the Aes Sedai kind of trickery is that it does take over time what they had hoped would be something to kind of ensure their honesty ends up kind of working against where it's
I
like
don't think
they work all around those
I don't think that I think they meant it to be an exploitable illusion from the start. I don't think anybody looks at like, hey, we're going to put ourselves under the same constraints of something that we just were using to punish criminals and we're just, like, it's just going to be great. Like we can do this, but there's ways around it. But the world doesn't know that because they'll just remember it as being the way that punishes criminals. What the hell was I trying to say? Criminals?
Herminers.
Yeah.
Herminers.
But you know what the world remembers more? Aes Sedai turning cities into glass, rising mountains where oceans once sat. Like they kind of don't give a shit about the Oath Rod anymore.
Doesn't sound like
And that shows. And then it doesn't take long for the Aes Sedai to show that, like, hey, there's loopholes in our shit and we can dance around it. And it's just like, the very thing that you used to say we should trust you now means we can't trust you, because even whenever you try to show us that we can trust you, you're showing us inherently why we can't. And this expands as we get to this next part here with the White Tower's web of influence, as they set up as one of the first real kind of de facto kind of seats of power and order in a post-breaking world or a late-breaking stage world. They set themselves up as both a bit, mainly a kind of like power and magical body, but they grow into this body that I don't ever feel that the Aes Sedai are ever truly like a spiritual type body. I don't really ever feel that the Aes Sedai really spent, like, they say they champion a lot of the causes of like the Creator and the Light, but it's not really like they're not like a theological kind of like construct and an organization. They're a more of like magical governance power, and then all that combines just into the body politic for the Aes Sedai. And they become just a seat of political power that has both the influence, the diplomatic tactics, and the, especially at the time as we're in, late to end of breaking here at the start of the Third Age, militaristic power to kind of impose their will on the rest of the board. Because as some of the first groups to show some kind of steadfastness and an ability to resist the attacks from the channelers that have gone mad, well, people are going to flock to that because, yeah, I might not be able to trust them, but I also probably won't be, erased before I existed or whatever under them. At least I'll be alive. People will generally choose to be alive rather than get massacred, wherever they reside. Not always, but
allegedly. Yeah, we'll put that allegedly in there.
And then the Aes Sedai kind of like put their stamp of like assertion on that idea that they're just there to help the world by, other than the island of Tar Valon and the immediate like Outer Banks areas, which I think the Outer Banks areas are just across the river.
We call them
comes
OBX.
later. What?
We call them OBX.
OBX.
Yeah, the Outer Banks.
Oh, I feel like that's a joke I should get, or is that an actual thing?
It's a joke that the Outer Banks of North Carolina is.
I should definitely get that. I should. I'm not native to here, I'm a sandlapper, not a Yankee Carolinian. Yeah. I did have an old coworker that tried to steal one of the horses from the Outer Banks. There's that. Yeah. He had to finish his community service in California, so. In his defense, like him and his wife at the time, they thought they were saving a fowl.
Okay, well that's fair.
So they had the good hearts, and even like the natural resources or whatever was like well-meaning tourists, but still illegal. Anyway,
Still illegal.
Yeah. So the Aes Sedai, they don't claim really any land outside of the island of Tar Valon for the longest, and then they kind of claim like the opposite side of the banks, the Outer Banks of Tar Valon later on, as just the city overflows and expands. You what now? I don't remember what I said. That I grew up as a sandlapper. Y'all should educate yourselves on what a sandlapper is. Anyway, so Aes Sedai and their political, being a political body, they get one of their first really big victories, politic-wise, and it's a long-standing victory for them, that comes in the way of the founding of Andor, that happens under and with Aes Sedai guidance. Because after the death of Otter Hawkwing, what the hell is a sandlapper? The South Carolinian. It's like an old song we had to learn. It's like the South Carolina state song. We had to learn it in elementary school.
So sing it.
Nope. I don't sing songs that I like, much less that one.
All right, so if you come to
And
Gathering
yes,
Madness,
Yankee Carolinian, North Carolina. A North Carolinian is a Yankee Carolinian because Yankee Carolinian. Come on now. If it wasn't for those goddamn Yankee Carolinians, we'd have all of Carowinds and we'd have all the Carolina Panthers and we'd still have our Carolina Infernos hockey team. So I say as I now possess a North Carolina driver's license. So I've become part of the problem. Anyway,
woo!
after the death of Dr. Hawkwing in FY 994, Ashara Castellane, who was the governor of the province of Andor, and the new Amerlin seat at the time, Dion Aramon, who also at the time set the record for being the youngest Amerlin seat at the time, persuaded Sauron Maravel, who became Ishara's husband. So Andor province governor wound up marrying Sauron Maravel, who was the general leading the siege of Tarvalon. They wound up going to the province of Andor, got married. After a combined effort from Ishara and the Amerlin seat at the time, Dion, convinced him to end the siege on Tarvalon. So there comes a lot of the political influence and intrigue and everything behind why Andor and the White Tower have such, I don't is that just the lesbian orgy?
I think so. That's what I always
Yeah.
thought it was, anyways.
I mean, it fits. I mean, all the Aes Sedai are females, all the queens are females. I mean, have your fun. Go for it. Go for it. www.scissorparty.com. Actually, that might be a website. Don't go there.
Don't go there.
Don't go there. That might be a good site. It might be a bad site. I don't know.
Yeah, actually,
Anyway.
let us know in the comments.
Yeah, let us know what you find. So, and then all of the military forces that remained from the siege under Sauron Maravel wound up going under Ishara and became the military forces of and what would become Andor. Which after the time that Ishara took over as queen of now Andor is basically just a city of Andor. And then from there, there's the whole tradition that happens. Like by the time Ishara dies in FY 1020, all of Ishara's sons had also died, just leaving one daughter, Alycinda Castellane, who takes over as queen. Alycinda only lives to be 15 years old, dies in 1035, was born in I say lives to be 15. She ruled from 1020 to 1035, then dies, only has a female heir, Melissoon Castellane, that rules from 1035 to 1046. It is these three rulers back to back being matriarchal monarchs that creates the tradition that later becomes Andoran law that the monarch of Andor must be female. It must be a matriarchal monarchy going forward into there. All of that started with the help of an incredible Amerlin seat at the time. Diane Aramon was an incredible Amerlin. She's the Amerlin that is responsible for ending the siege on Tarvalon. She's also the one that tried the hardest to make peace with Hawkwing, and offered Hawkwing healing that could have saved his life as he lay dying, despite him refusing. So they played a massive role in that. So it's one of those kind of things where it's like a lot of the other stuff that she did indicates that like she wasn't necessarily trying for political gain. Political gain just found the fact that this Amerlin wasn't like necessarily a shit person. But it's a political tradition now that in the world of the Wheel of Time continues on, because ever since then the treaty between Ishara and the Amerlin at the time was that every daughter, the first daughter born to the ruling noble family would be sent to Tarvalon to be tested for training. That they would always have an Aes Sedai advisor as an official member of the Royal Court of Andor. It was a massive treaty of friendship. So they'd be meddling and shit. And then with them being having an ongoing presence in the Andoran royal court, they're going to be meddling in secession wars within Andor, and that it's almost like there's this old kind of ideology about dogs that like once dogs get the taste of blood, you'll never get them broken of the habit kind of thing. It's a really old thought process that like if you like amongst farmers, like if you had a dog that attacked and killed a chicken, like you can never trust the dog around chickens. Generally speaking, like the dog now has to be put down because you can't trust the dog to not attack farm animals. It's generically 99% not true. Turns out, shocker. But it seems like it kind of wet the chops, as poor of a turn of phrase that is, for the Aes Sedai to be like, ooh, politics. A way that we can manipulate power without channeling Sider? Don't mind if I do. And this is kind of where a lot of this other stuff starts that we have here. By all means, feel free to cut me off and just start talking about shit, because I just keep talking. Like I just keep going. And I definitely need to let you talk more. Otherwise, this is going to be like, hey, Andrew did this episode with occasional like sponsored segments from Reese Sedai. Otherwise, it's going to seem like I'm just talking shit about the Aes Sedai and just Reese Sedai sitting here just being like,
But the oaths won't let me see.
I don't like your vision of my history.
No, I think for one, you seem to have a pretty good handle on it.
For once.
I said for one.
Oh.
You seem to have. Yeah, you're welcome.
More Aes Sedai tricks.
I clarified. No, I think this is one of those ones where it's kind of interesting from, there are kind of warring perspectives where it's like there are definitely good things for why they did what they did, but there are definitely bad results that came from what they did. And so it's kind of interesting to kind of see like, oh, they did this too and still trust, but at the same time it kind of breached everyone's trust. And so it's kind of funny to see the steps that they take to kind of build that their place in society, but at the same time it also cements their place in society in both ways that they want and don't want. I think it's interesting that it's kind of hard to do one without the other.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And I mean, like, I think the show in season 3 did a really good job with Andor and the Tower as we're, deep, just, almost down to the balls in the Third Age, if you will, for lack of a better descriptive phrase there, if you will. Shows the relationship between Andor and the Tower. Because early Andor and the Tower, they would have been like, yes, how can I help you? Yeah, let's work together. We got this. No problem. We're the best of friends. But by the time Morghese is queen, the fuck around find out queen, she rolls up to the Tower in the TV show and is like, you let the daughter heir of Andor get captured/kidnapped and taken away. Why should I not bring the entire military strength of Andor down on you, which can crush your entire little island? And Suon, as the Armelin, has to be like, we've always had a good relationship with Andor. Let's not take it to this level. And Morghese is like, yeah, we have, until you let my daughter get fucking kidnapped. Like, by treaty, I have to send her here, and by treaty, you will protect and train her. You fucking didn't do your side. Everybody else that breaks a treaty with me, I murder. Why should you not get the same fucking treatment? Like, just because we've been friends for a long time, don't get it twisted. Doesn't mean you don't get the same treatment. And I loved it. Honestly, I loved how Morghese was portrayed in the TV. I don't think she was portrayed as ruthless as she actually could and needed to be as queen in the books. Mm-hmm. I do like how Morghese was in the TV show. I know a lot of people didn't like how she was like, oh, it's the end of the secession war. None of you want to like truly and freely swear fealty to me. We're just not going to have more secession wars because this is stupid. Not that I advocate for like murdering your political enemies. Definitely don't do that. That's horrible. Don't do that.
But it fits.
Anyway, but so I think Andor is a bit of an exception to this kind of idea of the balance of the power of nations needing and fearing the Tower. I don't think Andor needs nor fears the Tower, but I think Andor is also like the one fucking exception where they're like, we don't need you nor do we fear you, because Andor's are in like Shan. Okay, so there's 2 exceptions. Three. Sorry, Shara, Andor, Shara, Sean Chan. Don't need nor fear the tower. And fucking Sean Chan show very much how much they don't need nor fear the tower. It's a fractured tower, but you know, y'all got your shit whooped and your Armorling got carried off by one of those 3 different variations of Rockin', whichever one it was. I don't. Ultimately, though, I guess the ultimate point for this section, as I try to streamline this, because we've rambled on for a while, I guess, which tends to happen, was they're manipulating and prodding around in the more Deus de Mar style thing. This underlying kind of poking, prodding, and trying to guide the world in a way that kind of maybe serves them or that they feel works best for them. Is this pragmatic for them? Like, does this help? Are they helping maintain global stability like the Second Age, like Age of Legends Aes Sedai did with like kind of being the world government? Or is this just kind of like more arrogant overreach? Like they're almost like imposters of Second Age Aes Sedai. Like they're still trying to wield the same power, but they just don't have the mojo to borrow from Austin Powers. They don't have the mojo to do that anymore. Is their power manipulation a little bit nutty? I don't know why it's all Italian, but is it nutty despite it being British comedy?
Despite it being British comedy. I mean, I think, you know, I think they try to remain relevant. You know, they do have, I think with the Aes Sedai, they're always, I don't want to say scheming because it sounds bad, but they always have an ulterior motive. They're always planning for something. And, you know, on a small scale that might be not so great, but on a large scale, it's usually for something like the last battle. So even if it does seem like they're scheming, it's like, yeah, but for a good purpose.
But if only there were the results.
Yeah. And I think that along the way, in most things, you can kind of get lost in that, especially when, like, I think right after the break-in, especially, it's like, yeah, we got to plan for this. We got to be prepared. We're going to make sure that the governments are ready. We're going to make sure this is ready. We're going to be ready. And then a lot of time passes and nothing happens. And it's like, okay, so we have a lot of influence here and here and here and here. And I feel like you kind of lose that kind of let's be prepared. You kind of lose the reason that you're doing. Yeah. You lose the reason you're being prepared. And you start to just kind of take the influence rather than the allegiance, I guess. And kind of spread that rather than getting people to where they need to be so they're ready for the last battle. You're kind of like getting them to support what the White Tower supports. And I feel like over time that kind of gets blurred.
It doesn't help too that like a lot of the prophecies that they get, they view through a lens of self-fulfillment. They get a lot of prophecies that are like, hey, the White Tower is crucial to the last battle. And instead of being like, you know, hey, this could be taken 18 different ways, they're like, we're doing the right thing. We're on the righteous path to victory.
We're so crucial.
I mean, even Elida's like, she doesn't, like, she legitimately doesn't think she's doing anything wrong by trying to stuff the Dragon Reborn in a box and store him away until the battle starts. She literally thinks of him as like an actual legitimate weapon that will not change status at all. Like, you just put him in a box, and when you take him out, he's just as effective as he would be if you left him out the entire time. But nobody puts baby in the corner. Thankfully. It's fucking wild. But that's a fantastic. I do want to try to get through these last 2 sections, and I think we can do it in a faster time than our outline suggests.
Yeah.
We'll see. I know I can get through part 3 faster. Because these are just some examples, or if you want to sound extra fancy, the hand rubbing thing makes me think. Do you ever watch much Family Guy?
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever see any of the episodes where like, or it was like one episode where Stewie would cock up like an evil plan, and there'd be the roach would be like, good.
Yes.
Anyway, all right, secrecy in action, or case studies of the Aes Sedai pulling their bullshit. We've already spoken about her. Moraine's secrecy.
Mm-hmm.
Books and TV show. She just would be withholding information from everybody. She don't tell Rand shit, Matt shit, Perrin shit, Egwene shit, Land shit. Don't tell nobody shit. She don't tell nobody nothing.
She's
I realize there's a double negative
person.
And her argument is, well, the less y'all know, the less danger we're all in. And she legitimately believes that, and I think she's doing it from an earnest place of, I'm trying to fulfill this mission I've been on for the past 20 years that I've got put on because I watched an Aes Sedai have a foretelling so strong she fucking died. And then an Amerlin put me and my girlfriend on a fucking quest to save the world. She's got some heavy shit to deal
we had
with.
to break up. Yeah.
Yeah. So hard we had to break up just to do this shit. She made me close the fucking gateway in the movies. Oh, it's a Waygate, sorry. And then she got mollywopped by fucking Lanfear. Lanfear's a real one. All right, Lanfear fucking won. She was the MVP of that section of that episode. I fucking cheered. All right, because Suwon went too far. You went too far. Anyway, but on the other hand, you didn't see as much direct confrontation as early as you did in the TV show in the books. Like it still happened, but it was a bit later on, and it took a book and a half for Rand to really get fed up with Moraine and be like, "Stop fucking with me." Like that's kind of what it was. Like, you're playing fuck games. I have the power to put you in the forever box, and you're starting to piss me off. Like, tell me what's going on. And Moraine's like, here's 0.5% of what I should be telling you because I'm not sure if I can trust you yet. And it's like, you said I'm going to save the world. And she's like, or destroy it. And it's like, you think not telling me is going to fucking make me want to save it?
And funnily enough, this is one of the things that really changed for me when I reread, because my initial read and my reread were almost a decade apart, my first reread. And it was really funny, the viewpoint change.
It's 10 years for those of you looking for
Yeah, if you don't know, a decade is 10 years, yes. I apologize.
Yeah. Like a dodecahedron is do-10-ahedron, something. I don't know what the rest of it is. Dodecahedron, the deck part of it is 10. I don't know what the rest of it is. Pillsbury something, I don't know.
Rubbish. That's it.
Cod swab.
But I had a point here.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It was so good. I bet it was such a good point.
The difference between when you read it the first time and you read it the second time about Moraine hiding stuff.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So the first time through, I read it. I was much younger. And so you read this through and it's very, very clear that she is withholding information from people, our main characters, for a reason. Either she doesn't trust them or doesn't want to divulge this information, but she is withholding information. This is clear. And it's very frustrating that, why don't you just tell us what you know? But then the second time through I read it, I was much older, and it was just like, oh, there's not a chance these kids are going to believe her. There's not a chance they're going to believe what she has to say. And so, of course, she withholds the information, because it's like, you're just going to have to wrap them up and get them swept up in this. And then once they're too far into it, yeah, then you can tell them.
Hey, kids, follow the shiny out into the new unknown. I got a silver dollar. Oh.
Just follow.
Oh, you got to be quicker than that.
But that's, it's silly, but at the same time, it's very true. She kind of has to hide what she's doing, because they won't follow her. If they did know what she knew, they'd be like, hold on. And she doesn't have time for that. She has to just wool over head, get them going.
Come with me, because this guy Rand that's been hiding berries in his pocket is going to save the world. They'd all be like, you're crazy, lady. We're staying here. But hand you a silver coin and say, if we don't leave, your dad's definitely going to die. Well, now you've sold me, Gypsy. No, that is a very good point. And that's the benefit you have, right? Of reading through the whole thing, you have this kind of like full knowledge bias. You know basically where things go. And you're like, okay, knowing where this ends up, if she had told the full honest truth at the start, she wouldn't have been like, Aes Sedai ring or not, they would have all run her out the town as a lunatic. And she wouldn't have even been there when the Trollocs attacked, and the story would have been over like halfway through the first book, if even that far. Not even that far. It would have been over in like the first 10 chapters. It would have been a 10-chapter book, which would have been hilarious if RJ released a 10-chapter book where they just run the Aes Sedai out, don't believe her, and then everybody dies. And then 2 months later, he releases the full story that's like, okay, here's the actual story. But anyway, Yeah, I love it. So, did it create mistrust? Yes. But was it necessary for their safety? Also, yes. Both can be true.
Mhm.
Next, the tower's jism. I mean, the tower schism.
Wait, I think you said right.
The tower jism, the slit between Elida's tower and the rebels. Yeah, sounds like a fucking fan made erotica. um, one of the big things that becomes a sticking point, giggity, between the Elida Tower and the Tower in Exile or the Rebel Tower in Saladar is the biggest one is pride. Absolute pride in Elida's like, I'm a Red Ajah sister, even though I'm Amerlin, I'm not supposed to be of any Ajah anymore, but I'm still a Red. We cannot be wrong. We fought the good fight, which in all of this she legitimately believes. Like she's not just like blowing smoke up anybody's ass like Alviarin or anybody else. It's like a true dark friend just doing shit.
Yeah, she
Elida
really
believes
believes
her
it.
own fucking shit. Like Elida so not in the evil aspect, but in the believing your own shit in your brain. Elida is the Vegeta of Wheel of Time. Like Vegeta through the Namek arc. If you've ever watched Dragon Ball Z, take Vegeta through the Namek arc. The whole like I am the high like especially the abridged parody. That's fucking Elida. Elida's just fucking Vegeta trying to maintain his evil dynasty kind of thing. But you got the pride there. You got the power struggles that are happening in between both because within the tower, you got everybody trying to pine for positions where they're like, hey, we can be friends with Elida, and then they all figure out Elida just wants to build fancy shit because that's what an Amerlin does in her mind. And so then they all just pine for positions that with actual power and hide shit from her later on.
She's a
And then
fan.
in yeah, and then in the Saladar Tower, they're like, oh, we can all manipulate Egwene because clearly she's fucking stupid and young, and we can make her do whatever we want. And then Egwene shows up and is like, I've been training in the desert with the Aiel Wise Ones, and they're channeling and they're dream walking, and I can mollywop every last person in this thing. By the way, I've rediscovered 18,000 forgotten forms of channeling. And they're all like, we may have fucked up, y'all. We've already picked her as the Armerlin. We may have messed up.
Whoopsie.
Whoops. Whoopsie doodles.
Whoopsie doopsie.
She's too strong. You flew too close to the sun, Icarus. And meanwhile, Suwan's just like, yeah. I knew it all along. You didn't know shit. You're just happy that like she likes you enough to where she doesn't kick you out. Anyway, but it's all these secrets that start coming out that wind up being used as like weaponry against him because like especially Egwene, once she finds out all these secrets from Suwan, she uses them in the tower after she's captured to sow distrust amongst the physical White Tower and its residents against Elida, and it has like tremendous effects. Like she poses questions to like full blown sisters that have gone through the testing and have been there and have been sisters for 100+ years, and they're like, "Huh, make a good point. Now go get your ass like spanked 100 times and clean a cook pot." And then you get Egwene's reign, not Egwene, Elida's reign. That her entire reign is just a case study in shitty secrecy. It's all paranoia-driven secret plots and diplomacy that fails. I mean, initially her whole concept of like she orders people sent to the Black Tower in Andor because she's like, oh, it can't be more than a dozen men that can channel, so we'll send 24 women that can channel, and they're met by like an army of like 300 and horrifically mollywopped. And I don't mean that as like they're just absolutely browbeat, but they're forcibly bonded. That part's absolutely horrific, but it's just absolute failure after failure after failure. And she has so many secret plots all over the place, and like a third of it's hers, and the other like 2/3 are like half or fully like dark friend Alviarin driven. I don't know how she like can tell her asshole from the secret box on her desk, and like there's just so much shit that goes on, and all of it's like at best half baked.
Yeah, I feel like she kind of suffers from the this is what it's supposed to be syndrome, I guess, where it's like, yes, I've finally become Amerlin, and now I will get all of these things. But every term is different. Every, time they serve is different. She is in a different world than the last Amerlin was in, than the Amerlin before her was in. And so the things that are just standard for the Amerlin are no longer standard at this time. But she tries, which is really easy to assume just by the way she became Amerlin. But
You mean through betrayal, like a smidge of truth surrounded by betrayal,
yeah,
and then you become the leader, and everybody's like, "Oh, I don't trust you."
yeah, that, yeah,
Just like
you know,
maybe if you're like if you believe fully in monogamy, and your partner believes in monogamy, and one of you cheats, and then you go with the cheating partner who also claims they believe in monogamy, and then maybe you don't fully trust them because y'all both got together by doing something you both claim to not believe in.
well, Andrew, I feel like
Which
it needs to be
not to
stated
not to
that,
tout the merits of monogamy or shame anybody that's not monogamous, just trying to make an example.
look, Andrew, 2 wrongs might not make it right, but 3 lefts do. Okay, so let us just get through.
You just keep going into left field until you start going right. That's how it works.
I almost feel like that's part of Elida's kind of issue, is that she is almost delusion, and that she comes in like,
She
I
finds a
am the
different direction
Amerlin.
field. She doesn't even go left or right field. She just goes somewhere different.
Yeah, and it's like you can't claim the same things that all of the other Amerlin did, because you didn't get the role the same way they did. But she comes in like she should, and it
I mean,
kind of
you're like
sets her up.
you betrayed so many people, and then you're shocked whenever people don't trust you.
Yeah.
But then like kind of in the same vein, Suon, she kept so many secrets for so long, and the secrets are ultimately what bit her in the ass. I mean, it's the kernel of truth of her hiding the fact that she knew about the dragon being reborn, and that she knew another Aes Sedai, or according to the books, several Aes Sedai knew that the dragon had been reborn and that the end times were nigh. Like, there was no other option than deposing her once the hall knew, and that's really what sealed her fate.
Mm-hmm.
And Elida got a massive popularity boost. 1, because she was there forever. 2, she smelled like roses apparently. 3,
Yeah, it's beautiful.
she was the one that brought it forward, because Suon was a power to be reckoned with in terms of diplomacy. I mean, that's what the Blue Ajah was known for. She had dirt on everybody.
But the bigger they
But it only goes so far.
harder they fall. If
She
you're
fell hard and took Leanne straight down with her. But there's a silver lining at the end, because Leanne got to get in touch with her Damani side.
she
She got to express her femininity in a way she enjoyed.
Sure.
She got to shake that shit as much as she wanted or didn't want. Suon did as well. But it left her incredibly vulnerable to the point where she got, deposed, stilled, TV show executed. Which, the thing that
By the way,
happened.
raise your hand if you knew when the show was getting canceled.
Does it have to be related to the Suon getting executed scene?
I was pretty sure when Loyal died, to be honest.
I was pretty sure it was getting canceled after a couple conversations I had with other people that Amazon at least liked more at the time after season 2.
Well,
And I was like, I just have a feeling. It's just the feeling I get.
So after.
Not saying I knew it before you.
It is a contest,
not
though, and you won, so I'll admit it.
Admit your defeat, Sedai.
But I did, I was fairly certain when Suwan died in the shows, and I don't like to bring this up too much because we've talked about it a lot, but that was one of kind of the moments for me that I actually said when this happened, I went, what are they doing? Because I didn't know how they were coming back from it. I was like, this is done, right? This is done. We're done, right?
To be perfectly honest with you, I think several people involved in the making and production knew that it was done, and they did not share that even as a possibility with a lot of the talent. So a lot of the talent that is now coming out of their NDAs and are able to talk about it, and they're saying, yeah, it caught me at a left field. It caught me completely by surprise. Nobody said anything. I don't think it's because it was a sudden decision by Amazon. I think it's because the people that knew couldn't or did not share that information. But I think the writing was on the wall after season 2, but season 3 was already so far into production, post production, and everything that they were like, we're not going to cancel it in the middle of putting all this money into it. But that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, there were some really great things in season 4, but yeah, I felt like it was already done at that point.
Yep.
They could Aes Sedai us all they wanted, but we knew the truth.
Yeah. We could see through this. And speaking of seeing through it, our final part that we will try to hurry up and get through, the Cult of Secrecy.
The Cult of Secrecy.
The Cult of Secrecy. Justification versus corruption. So, what do we mean when we say a Cult of Secrecy? Generically, this is the culture of the White Tower, the culture that pervades and perverts the entirety of the White Tower of silence and half-truths and veiled intentions and intentional misleading statements. All of this kind of just crap that's meant to keep everybody their own specific hellspawn brand of ASMR that makes it to where you're lucky to find somebody within your own Ajah, that much less amongst the other Ajahs, much less amongst the White Tower. You can't trust the novices because they run around everywhere. Everybody ignores them. But then other Aes Sedai are like, what did you hear from Varen Sedai? What did you hear from Aes Sedai? What did you hear from Leandrin Sedai? And they're all like, I don't know, Madam Sedai. Flick, me some coin, and maybe I can tell you an answer. Get rid of my punishment from Sirium Sedai, and perhaps I can have more time to give you information. It's all fucking manipulation, and it's fucking horrible.
Mm-hmm.
So within that, you want to generically being forced into one of two camps. Either secrecy is necessary because knowledge in the wrong hands can be catastrophic, or you end up in the other camp of secrecy breeds mistrust, division, and ultimately undermines the Aes Sedai's overall purpose. And I think it more so comes down to the what winds up being more important. What is more important in the end? The ultimate purpose or professed purpose of the Aes Sedai as they are built into the Third Age. Or, just that. Is their purpose to disseminate information and prepare the world for the coming last battle, even though time was cyclical and keeps going on over and over, but we're going to call it the last battle? Or is it their job as Aes Sedai to bogart information and try to guide the world in a specific direction by controlling the flow of information? Should they be using secrecy as a tool of their own power to manipulate and sway the world in a positive direction? Or is it more of a case of absolute power corrupts absolutely amongst the White Tower? Because you're going to continuously have the competing ideologies of trust versus authority, their unchecked pride amongst the White Tower, and the recurring idea that both the light and shadow exploit secrecy. But throughout reading all the books a couple times, I only really see one side that continuously truly suffers from the amount of secrecy. From what's that joke we always make about the Wheel of Time, that nobody ever communicates? Yeah.
I
don't know. What do you think, Reese? What are your thoughts on the situation?
I think it's one of the it's a tough one, because I feel like even in the White Tower there are varying, warring camps, where there are some that think, we should be honest with people, we should be forthcoming, share our knowledge, let everyone prepare together. And then there are probably those that think yeah, but have you met the general population? No, let's take care of this ourselves. Let's keep this information under wraps. Let's be the stewards of this rather than disseminating the information. Let's just hold on to it and make sure that it happens ourselves. And I think it's kind of like
so the High Lord of Tyr approach.
Yeah, beard up, beard oil versus
beard oil down to a point, which is why I let mine split a little,
right,
or just be curved. Real beards have curves.
But yeah, I think even in the tower itself, there's probably, the different camps that think, let's, use all our resources and find the full truth together. And then others that are like, truth, they can't handle the truth. Have you met them? They can't even get
You can't handle the truth. You can't handle that wall. You need me on that wall.
That's right.
So cool. With that idea in mind, I'm sorry, were you done? I don't want to cut you.
I'm done.
I'm going to throw out an Aja.
Mm.
And I want you to tell me if you think, and feel free to, do you want me to do the same thing after? We'll tell you which, I'm going to throw out an Aja, and I want you to tell me if you think they are in favor of disseminating information or maintaining secrets.
Okay.
And then after you do yours, if you want me to do the same thing, you can do the same thing to me. I'm all about fairness. Red Ajah.
Red Ajah. They're keeping information.
Blue Ajah.
Oh, they're keeping information.
Green.
They don't need the information.
You said they're keeping?
They don't need the information.
They don't need it. They're just neutral. I don't give a
They're
fuck.
just gonna fight. They don't care.
I'm too busy fucking to share or keep information. I'm saving orders out here.
You guys,
all right.
Yeah, you fight over it.
Brown Aja.
I think they're split. I think you'd have half keeping the information and half splitting it. The brown are split. I think there's equal parts.
White Aja.
They're sending out the info. It's too logical.
Yellow Aja.
They're sending out the info. You gotta be whatever. I can't think of the word. Move on.
I thought all of them. Red, blue, green, brown, white, yellow,
Gray.
Yeah.
Gray's keeping it.
So
Gray's going to strategically keep it and disseminate when they're ready.
So you have like 4.5 keeping, and then you have like 1.5 disseminating, and then one that's just like, I'm just here to fight and fuck. Like you got one that's like a mix between a barbarian and a bard. It's just like, I'm here to see something naked and punch someone in the fucking nose. I would ask about the Black Ajah, but I think we unanimously all agreed that they're just going to keep everything secret. Their very nature is secret. Oh, man.
True. I feel like they could go either way, though. They could be like, nah, I give out all the info. Everybody gets everything. Chaos.
Including chlamydia.
Woo! Wait.
What the fuck? I don't know if that's woo-worthy. I might need to talk to Mr. Mick Curtains. Mick Leaf. Yeah. Mick Leaf? You got a fucking Mick problem. Oh, man. You want to ask the same question, or are you good with your answer?
I like my answers, but I would like to ask the same question because I like chaos.
Okay. So you say an Aja, and I'll say if they what they do with the information. I guess.
Red.
They're gonna share, but it's gonna be heavily redacted and manipulated.
Like that. Okay. Yellow.
They're gonna share because they think they're doing the best for the world.
Mm-hmm. Green.
I think your answer was the best. They don't know enough to fucking share. They're just like, they're the jarheads of the tower, but like not trained enough to even do that. So they would share what they have. Just what they have is like the menu for the day.
I like that. Okay. Blue.
They're definitely keeping it all secret.
Yeah. Okay.
Still got white and gray.
So white.
They're gonna keep it until they hit a situation where it makes sense to reveal it, but they're only gonna reveal what they feel they have to.
Okay, I like that. What about gray?
Gray, they're only gonna reveal what gains them leverage.
Okay.
They're gonna maintain leverage in those negotiations. Otherwise, it's gonna be kept secret.
I like that. All right, brown.
Brown, I like your answer. I think it's a half and half. I think half think that like everybody needs to know all of history, and the other half are like, no, they shouldn't know any of it, because some people believe that like knowing what happened in history gives you ideas to fucking repeat, and the other half are like, knowing what went wrong means you won't repeat. And I think the Brown Ajah would be like split in the middle, being like, eh.
Yeah.
Like, one half would be like, yes, there was once a catastrophic event that happened to this town. Oh, what did it? We have no idea. The other half would be like, it was balefire. Like, no, don't tell them that. No. In fact, that's probably how Moraine learned what balefire was. It's like, they were like, what happened, to this town over here? And the Brown Ajah's like, I don't know. And Varen was like, I bet it was fucking balefire. Moraine was like, interesting. Found it in the like forbidden section of the library. The book screamed at her, and she was like, psst. I got a fucking bug zapper beam from my hand. Enjoy that, Balal, you asshole. I just love the idea of some asshole Brown Ajah member from across the library being like, it was balefire! And like, absolutely Hank Hill's voice. God damn it, Bobby, it was balefire, bull!
That wasn't nothing. It was balefire.
That's a clean burning shell, ghoul, I tell you what.
There was a whole city there before.
God damn it, Bobby, quit trying to balefire Ladybird. I still gotta watch the new King of the Hill.
I haven't watched that either. My favorite was
I've heard good things.
my favorite was when Bobby's like, Ladybird, 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 and she's just ignoring him, and Hank's reading the paper, and finally he goes, Ladybird, listen to the boy, and she and gets up and follows Bobby, and that was my favorite part.
I think one of my favorite ones was like, Hank was up on his roof trying to fix something, and he looks up and like Bill's on his roof, and he's like, oh, what you doing over there, Bill? Problems with your satellite? And Bill's like, nope, just up here thinking about killing myself, and then jumps off of the roof of his one-story house. And they're just like, what the fuck? Like, there's a whole episode of them all keeping Bill company, but Bill trying to kill himself in the stupidest fucking ways. Like, he stuck his head in the fucking oven, and Hank's like, God damn it, Bill, it's an electric oven. Like, it's so fucking stupid. It's so sad, because Bill was also, like, the only, like, he was a fucking army vet, but it's so stupid. And some of the early episodes, like, you could not re-air them now. But they were really funny, like, too, just because of how stupid they were. Like, when Khan first moved into the neighborhood. So are you Chinese or Japanese? I'm Laotian. So are you Chinese or Japanese? I'm from Laos, you fucking hillbilly. And then you got the whole one where, what was the one where Debbie was like sleeping with Mr. Strickland, but then she tried to like sleep with Hank, and then like she's climbed into the dumpster with a shotgun because she was gonna kill Mr. Strickland, but the shotgun went off and it shot her, and then Mr. Strickland freaked out and tried to frame Hank for the murder. Oh man, King of the Hill is such a wild but great show. Anyway, speaking of secrets, Wheel of Time, the White Tower, the King of the Hill of Wheel of Time. Bull. We hope you all have enjoyed your time here listening to whatever this was. I don't know that we got to a generic consensus of what would be the right answer, but I think we got to the answer of it didn't work for the White Tower. Ultimately, definitely didn't work for the Green Ajah. I mean, imagine being the Battle Ajah and then like losing everyone you were a part of.
Whoopsie.
Ooh, whoopsie doodles.
Should have trained.
I thought you meant like more thumb war, not like fire and brimstone war. Oh, my bad. Sorry.
You meant now? That was happening now? Oh. Oops.
You meant the last battle is now? Whoops. Well. But we hope you enjoyed your time here. As Josh would say from behind his prison bars, these prison gates don't open up for me, but we hope you're leaving a little more tainted than you were when you first arrived. He is your Sauravan Mahale. His name is Josh, and you'll see him at last week's episode, and you'll hopefully see him at next week's episode. I am your Bajan Mahale. My name is Andrew.
And I am your Aethon Mahale. My name is Reese.
Don't forget, you can get 10% off w.gg by using code BTP or clicking the link in the show notes or description below. It is great jitterless energy, because that's the phrase. I don't know what I said before. It's fantastic stuff. It's great stuff. Josh and I have definitely tried it and recommend it. We might bring a tub or something to Gathering Madness, which is something I definitely told myself I should remember to promote at the start of this episode and fucking forgot.
And here we are.
The Gathering Madness. If you haven't already gotten your ticket from the time you're listening to this live, if you're listening to this live, you have 5 days to get your in-person ticket. If you're listening to this when it goes public, you have one less day. So you have 4 to get your in-person tickets. blacktowerpod.com/TGM. TGM is in the Gathering Madness. It's going to be in Ogden, Utah. It's going to be fantastic. We're going to have all kinds of events, all kinds of fun. Josh is cooking again, and I don't mean he's going to be on the grill, though he might if he doesn't behave.
That's true.
We'll cook out some genuine Utah ass.
That's
all right,
right.
we'll do it.
That's right. We'll get some good rump on the grill there.
Yeah.
And
he's got plenty. I've seen it. I felt it. I've held it. He can spare some.
It's beautiful, Andrew. It's gonna be a really good time.
With the right degree of flame, it'll be hairless. We'll be good.
Hairless or haired, get your ass over to the Gathering Madness. We want to see you in person. We'd prefer you have something over your ass, but if you're not in person, hell, as long as you're not
it's in the wilderness,
you can have your ass showing.
It's in the wilderness. Go. And also, while you're at blacktowerpod.com/TGM, we're doing the Watt Tales contest. Submit your recipes. The link has been corrected. It is the 2025 form. Please submit your stuff. We'll be doing the Watt Tales contest. Prizes will be given out / shipped out. So please do that. We look forward to it so much. We enjoy it so much every year. But we're not going to belabor any more of your time. Thank you all so much for being here. We love you, and we'll see you all again next time on the Black Tower Podcast. Good night or good afternoon or, just whatever time it is for you. Have a good one of
who cares?
Whatever it is. All right.
Good
enjoy
day.
yourself.
You've been waiting for this moment, for this feeling to grow. In the shadows, always watching, always running the show.